seeing the hearts of the people, being around people that are literally making $100,000 plus months in this business. It's just when you put yourself in rooms and at tables with people who think bigger, have bigger results, who like you expand so much as a person, in your life will like change before it financially even changes, you know?
Welcome to the Breakthrough and Conquered podcast, the show where we will break free of old patterns and generation curses that have held us back for far too long. I'm your host, Claudia Garcia, and in this space, you will gain the tools and resources to help you create a life-changing transformation. Together, we will think, act, and become the top 1% by conquering limited beliefs, boost your productivity, and know exactly what it takes for you to live out your dream life. I will even unlock the secrets of high-ticket affiliate marketing to help make this all possible. Well, today we have an inspiring guest who took the leap of faith in her online business. She was able to quit her job of 22 years in the corporate world and build a thriving six-figure online business. She is proof that it's never too late to pivot and pursue your passions. And she's an amazing mom of two, a wholehearted, faith-driven woman, and a cookie crumble connoisseur. Welcome to the podcast, Kristy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. And yeah, like what an intro.
Thanks. Yeah, so I definitely wanted to bring you on here because one, you're so inspiring. Plus your energy is unmatched. Like
Thank you.
I literally remember you probably in the beginning days because we kind of started around the same time, like if not like maybe a
Mhm.
month or a couple weeks after.
Yeah.
And I just remember you being so 100% in the business. Like you would
Mhm.
comment on like things, you would ask questions. I was like, oh, I would never have asked that. So like you definitely were on my radar for the longest time. And then to see your story evolve and where you are now is truly so inspiring. So for the people who are listening, I definitely want them to hear your background. So go ahead and let us know like your story. Let us know why you even decided to hop in the online space.
Yeah, I would love to. Okay, so I, did like all the things that you're traditionally told to do. As soon as I, graduated high school, I had my eyes set on that beautiful, cozy, corporate, cushy job, right? And it's like, okay, so I got in literally a month out of high school. So I was 18 years old, and I started at a very large corporate company, and 20 fast forward 20 years, I did all the things within the 20 years. I climbed the corporate ladder. I got my 3 weeks off a year. I got my annual 3% pay raises. I got my degree, and I was in a high level member of management. And I remember when the pandemic hit, we, like many, got an opportunity to work from home. I had been in the office the entire time. Throughout this time, I got married, I had kids, and I just did what the normal like society tells
Yeah.
you to do. And so I remember when the pandemic happened and we got to work from home. It was my first taste of just like a little bit of freedom, right? And thinking, wow, like this is different. Like, being able to roll out of bed and over to your office and,
Yeah.
looking out the window and watching my kids get off the bus and, being able to start a load of laundry in the middle of the day. It was like these tiny little like micro moments realizing that I think I had missed something over the 20 years.
Yeah.
And so from there, I kind of just started really, evaluating my goals and what I wanted for my life. And I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of people post pandemic really their values changed.
Yeah.
Like health obviously is so important. I feel like always has been, but more now than ever before. Everybody realizes how precious like life is, and time freedom has really like kind of leveled up in the level of priorities that people have. Do you feel like that too? Like time freedom became
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think we were on the same page because that's literally when I started looking into this business was because of the pandemic.
yeah.
Luckily, like my son was a baby. So I kind of
Yeah.
saw it early on. of
Mhm.
like, wait, I don't want to miss out any moments. But
I
how
know.
old were your children when
Oh my
during the
gosh.
pandemic?
Well, that's like so I've been in my business for 3.5 years. They're almost 21 and 14 now. So they were,
Oh,
11 and 17. Um, I just remember watching them get off the bus this one particular day
yeah.
and thinking my son was a senior and my oldest was a senior in high school and my youngest was in middle school and thinking to myself, I have missed so much. And
Oh,
I want to cherish every little bit that I can that is left.
yeah.
And so part of that became my driving factor. And then the other was there was two other pivotal moments. So it was like watching my kids like really grow up, knowing I didn't have that much time and I really wanted to maximize it. Two was the first 20 years of working corporate were great. I honestly did not hate my job. I loved my job. I loved the people I worked with. And I never had thought about entrepreneurship or an online business. Like it never crossed my
Yeah.
mind to go in a different direction. But when I started to kind of get in this place post pandemic of like time freedom I really valued, I'm like, I don't want to work until I'm 70. I mean,
Mm,
65 is like retirement age, but they're actually saying now it's closer like to 70 is like what people can retire with. And most
yeah.
people like don't even have pensions, 401ks. I had all of that. I
Yeah.
am one of the very lucky ones, and I'm very thankful for what I have. But let me tell you something when I was deciding to leave my job, when I get to this point of the story, I'll let you know. But
Yeah.
I had looked at my pension and I had said, oh my gosh, I have this pension. I never really like focus on it because it's not for anytime soon. But oh, now that, I'm kind of looking at this different path, what will I get? So the earliest I could draw my pension that after 20 years of working for this company would be 50.
Wow.
And if I was to wait until I was 65 to start doing collecting pension payments, I'm just going to let you guess. How much per month do you think I will get at that age?
Oh man. I know it's not a lot. Like, but I want to say maybe 2, 3 grand.
I wish.
Oh my gosh.
$750. $750. Oh
That
my
is
God.
insane. Like, how do you even survive with
But you
$750?
don't. And like, so all these things, I was like, wow, I was blown away because this entire time I'm climbing the corporate ladder, I'm doing all the
Yeah.
things, and I'm thinking, okay, just make it till retirement and then you'll be sad. And it's like, actually, that will pay my like electricity bill.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. And so for anybody that can relate to this, one, if you have something, yes, we're more fortunate because I would say the majority of people don't. So I don't take that for granted. I'm still grateful. I don't want to come across as ungrateful for a $700 monthly payment, but it really does just make you put things in perspective. Okay, well, what does this like path look like? And so that was my second kind of reason is like, okay, I don't want to work until I'm this age, and clearly I need to do something different
Yeah.
for like the future and for now. The third thing that made me decide to make a change is I was a HR manager and I had people, other fellow peer coworkers, manager and director levels coming into my office every
Yeah.
day and just closing the door and crying
Oh
and
my
stressed
gosh.
out and overwhelmed and not sleeping and literally getting FMLA for stress and it was heartbreaking. And so
Yeah.
I remember just sitting there one day and my friend came in and she said, I think this place is going to give me a heart attack. And I looked at her and I said, if somebody told me you died tomorrow from a heart attack, I would not be surprised, genuinely. Stress
Yeah.
kills you guys. Like,
Yeah. No, and
so,
so unfortunate that that's the normality. Like,
I know.
a little bit background on my story is like my father, he would go to like commuting overnight for 20 years, more than actually 20 years, but it made him develop diabetes and he
Oh,
had a stroke at his job. But it's not like it was a surprise, but it's also, well, it makes sense. You're putting so much toll on your body, so much stress. Like, it's more of a shocked factor, but it wasn't a surprise factor.
yeah. And isn't that crazy? Like we're normalizing like conditions and disease and stress and problems that literally tie back to obviously it's all our health, but like how we also make a living. So I remember sitting there and it was kind of one of my line in the sand moments where I'm like, I have got to find a way out, not just for me, but like for to help other people. That was like became a mission for me.
Yeah.
And so I came across this amazing business. And as soon as I learned, I was an immediate all in. I got it. I saw the compensation plan. I understood the products. I understood everything. And I said, okay, so if it's up to me, it will be like I
Yeah.
know that I am capable and I can do anything. And if all these other people are, able to do this business successfully alongside a full-time job, but then eventually replacing their income and doing it full-time, like you guys, I just feel like this is the part that so many people don't understand is like, are you the exception or are you the rule? And
Yeah.
it's like, you can be anything and you can do anything. And do tell your kids like you can be anything you want in this world. Like dream
Yeah.
big, right? Don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, of
We tell
course.
our kids that.
Yeah.
And then one day along the way, we stopped believing that for ourselves. And so we stopped
Hmm.
believing like we're capable of doing anything. And we start working and we fall into like, okay, status quo. And like, this is just what it is. And, we're on the hunt for like the next better job with potentially better pay.
Yeah.
But like, you're always going to be chasing that until
Yeah.
you find like what do you really want to do, what does your dream day look like if you could wave a magic wand, like money's not an issue, what are you doing? And for many people it's like living how you want, being present, whether it's in parenting or for
Yeah.
yourself with travel, and making an impact in the world in some
Yeah.
way. And we get to do that. And so I was an immediate yes. I dove all in, and the rest has been history.
Yeah. And I think that what you said is so beautiful because it's true. We always tell our children's like go after if you want it, go after it. Like you have to put in the work, this is what you have to do. But there is a pivot point where we stop doing that for ourselves. And I realized really early on is if I want my son to go after his dreams, I have to model it first.
A
Like I
hundred
have
percent.
to be the one to like pave the way so that way he can go after his dreams because it does show, especially when he's so little. Like if I'm working out, he's like working out with me. If I say a certain word, he copies me and
Yes. Coaching.
they're definitely watching. So with you going all in your business so early on, just definitely show and tell people like what have you been able to achieve so early on because of how you've been able to take off.
Yeah. So I when I said yes and I, did my research and I learned and I decided, all right, I kind of said to myself, you can always make more money, but you'll never get your time back. And
Yeah.
so time is just going to continue to pass by. So this is like I'm going all in and I'm going to make this happen. And I currently coach people and tell people this all the time, but that I believe the number one key to success in any area of your life, personally, professionally, relationships, job, business, is belief. It is
Yeah.
the belief that you hold within yourself of what you believe is possible. Because when you believe something is possible, you will take action in a manner that is very different than if you have doubt. And many people are lacking confidence and have self-doubts and limiting beliefs, and those don't serve us. And so that's what I like tell people. And so what that did for me and how I showed up is I did $50,000 in sales in my first 60 days because of that belief. Yes, yes.
Mm,
I'm
yes.
3.5 years into my business. I have officially retired from the 9 to 5 forever. I literally wake up every day. I love my life. I love the impact that I make. I love the presence that I have for my family, for myself, my self
Yeah.
care. Like, I have slow mornings now. And, I've done over almost $450,000 in sales in 3 years. And I'm just starting. Like,
Yeah.
I have traveled more than I've ever traveled before for this business, specifically in meetups and networking events and all the things. I've been to Cabo, to Vegas, to Nashville, Tennessee, to Japan.
Japan.
from Japan in freaking June. Like it was incredible. Like, did I want to go to Japan ever? Was it on my bucket list? No. And let me tell you something. When the company announced the 50th anniversary was going to be in Japan, it was like, you got to go.
Yeah.
So being able to go to Okinawa, see the roots of this incredible company that I have been building a business around, seeing the hearts of the people, being around people that are literally making $100,000 plus months in this business. It's just when you put yourself in rooms and at tables with people who think bigger, have bigger results, who like you expand so much as a person in your life will like change before it financially even changes, you know?
Oh, 100%. And I definitely want to touch base a little bit about Japan, but I want to go back a little bit because for someone who sees success so early on, I believe, and you can be the testament of this, that you had to learn things quickly and you had to adapt things quickly as well. So, what were some of those challenges of seeing success kind of early on, and how has that evolved to who you are now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'd say a couple things. One is I think that because I had such big belief and I was so action focused and I went out and I like, there was nothing that was going to stop me. I think that I expected everybody else to have a similar work ethic, drive,
Yeah.
belief, etc. And then when they don't, it's I kind of wanted it more for people than they wanted it for themselves sometimes, and that was not good. I didn't have a lot, and the truth is, this is still something I work on to this day. I don't have a lot of boundaries. I'm very giving of my time. I'm very giving of my heart,
Yeah.
and I know that that's part of me, what makes me special and great and all the things, but like it's also like people need boundaries. You need
Yeah.
boundaries. They're a form of
Yeah.
self-love, like, and you need accountability. And so I think that's been something that I've really had to change. It's like, okay, I think about people who want to start a business. It's like you're going to have all the support in the world. But at the end of
Hmm.
the day, like you have to wake up each day and you've got to take the action and you've got to like move your business forward. Like I can't do that for you. You can't do that for your people that you
Yeah.
support. And I think it's hard, but it's like important because I go back to my early days and I say, did I need someone holding my hand to push me to tell me what to do? And the answer is no. I just took messy action, imperfect
Hmm.
action. I fell forward. I had so many crazy conversations. I didn't know what the heck I was talking about, but I had passion and I had belief, excitement, and a servanthood heart. And that's all you need. And
Hmm.
I would just say for anyone thinking about, diving into the online space, it's just, you know, take action, take messy action. Where you are today, where you could be 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, your life could look completely different. But
Yeah.
it won't if you don't show up and you don't believe, because belief helps you take the action to get the result that you ultimately want.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we can be the best supporters. We can hold their hands every step of the way,
Yeah.
but if you don't want it for yourself, then it's not going to happen.
No.
Also, it really does go back to belief because you could have the best support system. You could have the supportive husband. You could have a family that supports you. You can have the money. You can have all the right resources, but your business is your responsibility. So
Yeah.
even if you have the best mentors in the world, if you're not willing to take that messy action like you said,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to achieve the success that you want to see at the end of the day.
That's right. I would also say one other thing. It's kind of like a lesson learned through this journey.
Yeah.
So, one of the things, and I guess I'll ask you first and then I'll share my journey through this, but when you started this business, did you feel like you were someone who cared about what other people thought?
You know, I did. I
Okay.
come from a really people pleaser
Me too.
like background, so I did really care what people thought.
Me
But
too.
that was something early on. I had that hurdle of like, how can I think less of the other people? I told myself this is like, if I really care about what other people think, name one person that cares about me the same way.
Right.
Because sometimes the people, because I would have certain people's thoughts, like if someone said it, it didn't bother me. But if this specific person said it, oh, it triggered me. So
Yeah.
the person that I was trying to please so much sometimes would be somebody that really doesn't do me any service.
That's
So
right.
I really just quickly learned the hurdle of getting the fear of posting on social media because I was scared of what people would think if I did post consistently, or what would if I like stuttered, or because I do have dyslexia and I had to like really get out of my head of
Yeah.
people don't care about your disabilities. People care about how you make them feel.
Yeah.
So instead of going from their thoughts, I was like, how can I get to their hearts? And
Mm.
that really helped me switch that mindset of to stop caring what people think.
That's really good. I love that so much. I'm very similar to you. I am such a people pleaser and I do care about what people think. I've always cared. And it should not to an extent, obviously, typically like detrimental, but like, I mean, if you don't care what people think, like that's awesome for you. But like many people do struggle with this. So when I started my business, even though that's the type of character of who I am, I remember my business coach saying, you can't care like what people think. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like this is my
Yeah.
life. I'm building my dream. And less than a month after I started my business, I actually had a friend confront me who found out about my business
Yeah.
because I was keeping it very separate. Because I just, when you're starting something new, if you are a person like us where you do care, you also have to protect your heart a little bit and your space and your energy. It's like, building a business isn't easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it, but it's not
Yeah.
hard from the aspect that you think. It's really the mindset piece and the overcoming fears and doubts and judgment of others and yourself and all the things. And so I remember like going home crying that day when my friend came to me about this business and was like, "What are you doing? You've been scammed. I can't believe." And I was shocked. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, I did not expect to feel this way, get that reaction or feel this way." And
Yeah.
this is what I've learned from this is that at the end of the day, nobody else pays your bills. At the end of the day, at the end of the road, it's going
Yeah.
to be you. It's going to be you, and you have to look back on every decision, action or inaction that you did or didn't take. That is going to lead you to ultimately where you are. If today you are not where you ultimately want to be and you're not on a path to making that change, then you've got to make a change.
Yeah.
And as far as like, it's so interesting if you go on, any social media and someone says, I got a job promotion. Everyone's like, oh my God, congratulations.
Yeah.
And all this love. But you go online, you're like, I started a business. And it's crickets. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you really think about the psyche, like, why is that? And it goes back to 95% of people will stay employees for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And I put no shame in that. When I'm out, with my freedom life, having lunch, I'm thankful for the people that are there, cooking and serving and hostessing, and working a 9 to 5 because what would I eat if if I'm grateful I
Yeah.
go to the doctors and people are working traditional 9 to 5s as doctors and nurses and like there's a space and that is wonderful. But if you want to be the 5% and you want the extraordinary life and you don't want to settle, like you got to take a chance. And there's only 3 ways to really create potentially generational wealth and massive change in finances. And it's not your job. It's one, you win the lottery. And I will tell you, as someone who's played the lottery for many years, number two is you get an inheritance, which is
Yeah.
always a sad time, and not ever, you don't know really all the time, like if you're even going to ever get that or not. And then
Yeah.
three, you build a business. So your only like ability to take actual action towards creating more income, creating more freedom in your life, really going after your passions and goals is to create a business and build one. So it's
Yeah.
okay if you're thinking about starting something and if you're sitting here and you're worried about what other people would think, I would just say you're normal. Like that's
Yeah.
normal. Know that the people that might give you some judgment, most likely they love you and it's not, with ill will. It's just they don't have the same dreams and goals you do. They haven't seen what you've seen when it comes to this incredible business opportunity. And that just may not be what their path is. But don't let it stop you from taking the steps forward because if I had,
Yeah.
stopped on that day where my friend came to me and I don't want to say she shamed and judged me, but it felt that way in the moment.
Yeah.
And she was just worried about me. If I had let that hold me back from continuing my business or really going all in, I would not be where I am today.
Yeah.
And I would do it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. And you said it perfectly because and I kind of mentioned it in my intro, in order to think like the top percent, we have
Yes.
to act like them, think like them, and to become them. And a person who is in the 9 to 5, I mean, not 9 to 5, 95 percentile, their perspective, their life is completely different than what we
Right.
are thinking. So it's going to make sense that we're going to think differently. We're going to
Yep.
want differently. And sometimes those, like you mentioned, like it could be coming from an endearment of she's watching over you. However, it also could be maybe even projection because that's not
Yeah.
what she sees for her life. And
Hmm.
that gives me more confirmation that I'm on the right track.
That's right.
And instead of like, that was the little switch that I had to do as well is if people don't understand what I'm doing, I must be doing something right. And that gave me the validation that I'm doing something correctly. And being in the room with people who have seen the success, have been on
Yeah.
this path, and make my problems seem like, oh yeah, that's just part of life. That's you have
Yeah.
to go through that. And it
Yeah.
makes my problems seem so small. I was like, oh, okay, this is just part of the journey. This is what we have to go through. And yeah, you definitely have to learn to not care what people think
Yeah.
and just kind of like give them the grace. Have you talked to that friend again? Like, has she like
Oh, yeah, we're still
apologized?
so close, and she's, you know, so supportive of me, and she's so happy for me. And it was so funny. Just, a few weeks ago, actually, she calls and checks in, and I do the same.
Yeah.
But a few weeks ago, she called, and I was just middle of the day taking a walk in the neighborhood. It was a beautiful day, and had just come home from like a long lunch with my kids. And she's working, and she calls and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, hey." I was like, "Oh, just taking a walk." She's like, "I love that you're like so happy
Aw.
and you're doing so well." And she's genuinely so happy. But it was funny because the parallel in that moment was she was sitting at her job, stressed out, calling me for advice, you know, and it's just amazing, like the transformation that will take place and happen. And does it rattle my brain how everyone who isn't happy, especially when you're not happy in your job or financially good or time freedom wise good, just staying in that role, especially when people like if your
Yeah.
friends or family. It's so interesting to me how do you not see it and not just be like, I need to do that. But
Yeah.
I also respect that everybody's on their own journey. And I started when I was almost 40 years old. I wish I
Mm.
had started when I was in my 20s because I mean, where I would be now is like, I don't even know. But I also believe God's timing is perfect.
Yes.
Everything that happens is for a reason and is in his perfect timing. So it's just, I found it when I did, and I'm grateful for that. And, if ever, other people in our lives want more, they know where the sources and the experts are now. But it's not for
Yeah.
me to push that on them or take them down a path when it's too soon.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely want to go into a little bit back to Japan because you
Yeah.
mentioned you were so for the viewers who don't know, like I got to was that our first time meeting? No, Vegas was the first time meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Vegas.
so I got to meet Christy at my first convention for the company that we work with,
Mhm.
and we met in Vegas, and then we got to meet again in Japan. And you weren't going to go to Japan. Like that story is so insane to me. Can you please tell them why you weren't going to go?
Yes. Okay. So, obviously in June was the convention. We've
Hmm.
known about it for 9 months because they announced the location. In addition to just the trip, I also hit a huge milestone in our business. I crossed over $300,000 in sales. I got a $3,000 bonus. I,
Yeah.
had a healthy, multi five-figure month, and it was just a big moment, like literally the month before. And you get to walk the stage when you hit this like level. And so man, I get to do that, which is so special. And in Japan, like the roots of our company, I mean, it was picture perfect. But I had made the decision and told myself a story
Yeah.
of why I wasn't going to go. And there was a couple pieces of the story, but the main reason, truly, at the end of the day, putting all the other excuses and reasons I made up, is I was terrified to travel by myself. Like I was terrified to go to I've never been outside of the United States. I also
Yeah.
didn't really have interest in going outside of the United States. I mean, yeah, I wanted to do this for to be around everybody, and I knew it was going to be special. But I'm like, oh, my husband got another job, and we're probably going to have to move, and there's moving maybe, and then I I physically I don't even know if I could do a 20-hour flight. It's like that's crazy in my mind,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to do it. And so I talked myself out of going. And then
Wow.
my mentor, who I had a mentorship call with, like
Wow.
less than 3 weeks before Japan, was
Hmm.
like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to see you in Japan." And I was like, "Oh, actually, about that, I'm not going to Japan." And he lit me up.
Yeah, he
And
called you out.
he called me out so hard. And he was like, uh, what? And so I was like, yeah, and here's all the reasons why. He wasn't having any of it. And this is something I really, really want, anyone listening to take away is the power of mentorship and just
Hmm.
growth in your life and surrounding yourself with people who are gonna tell you the real thing. He went in and told me all the reasons why I had to be there and that everything else was an excuse that I was creating for myself.
Hmm.
And so I took that to heart. I went to my husband. I said, I got to go to Japan in 2 weeks. And I bought my plane ticket, and the rest is history. And I look back and I am so grateful because I would have missed out on just so many magical moments
Yeah.
that were truly so special, connections that I made, people that I ended up connecting with from the airplane ride to when I was there to just experiencing everything and being able to share that story. Oh, and then being there with you, like that was so amazing. Just to like really be around people like you start to get to really like bond with and grow with and see the success together. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's crazy how the narrative that we tell ourselves
Mm,
is literally why this business is hard. We are the only
100%.
people are
Yes.
holding us back. We are the only,
Yes.
like it can I know there's funny things. It's like we tell ourselves that we can't do certain things because imagine if I let my dyslexia hold me back.
Oh
Like
my God. Would
I
you be doing a podcast right now, much less a business? Look
well,
at you. You're
well,
amazing.
thank you, thank you. But I don't know if people know this, but I got a math degree. And
Mm.
that's literally, it was so hard. I
Yeah.
saw numbers flipped around. I would think five, but write seven. And I would do hours of work. Like you guys, I went to the highest levels of math, of theory, and the highest level of calculus. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But
Wow.
I loved math. I don't know. I just love the challenge behind it. I love being able to be a problem solver. The
Hmm.
confidence boost that I was one, a Latina woman in a lot of classes, but also a woman. I had a
Yeah.
professor tell me, "You're not going to pass this class because most women drop out." And I was like, "Watch me." And
Ah,
I think those I truly believe God's timing because those were
oh,
my social proof that I can do anything that I want. I set my mind to. There was the
yeah.
social proof of like when I played college softball, didn't make the team, but 2 years later I was the captain of the team and led them to championship. I was like, okay, I have leadership. The
Yeah.
social proof that I could take up a challenge was getting my math degree. I don't use my math degree now, but that's okay. And it
Yeah.
really is the narrative. I told myself, watch me succeed. Like, I
Yeah.
am not going to let you decide what my narrative
No.
is.
No.
And I think that's what's so beautiful about yours is like you quickly realized that
Mhm.
that was the narrative you were telling yourself. And self
Yeah.
awareness is a superpower because one,
Wow.
being aware of it is sometimes challenging. We don't
Mhm.
realize that we're doing certain things. But
Yeah.
what is a superpower is that you actually took action and molded it to something differently.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I heard I did a recently a masterclass personal development um and there was something that was said. I've never heard it before and I really loved it and it really helped me kind of have a visual and apply it and I just would love to share it because I think it could help a lot of people. So imagine there's a dartboard, and there's two dartboards. One of the dartboards is you're playing not to lose, and the other is you're playing to win.
Hmm.
And the dartboards are the game of life. And how many people are playing on this dartboard and playing to truly win? That means taking
Mm.
chances, risks, going after what you want, falling forward, investing in yourself, doing, setting big goals and dreams and then taking action behind it. And how many people aren't playing on that dartboard and instead they're over here playing not to lose,
Yeah.
thinking like that's okay. And what's your mentality really when you're playing not to lose? It's like you're protecting yourself like a hard, coated shell, like just protecting yourself from this dartboard of like life where it's like, man, the most amazing things will unravel on this one. And just because you may not meet your goal or you don't do it in the time frame you thought or this or that, it doesn't mean you've lost because you're not
Mm.
playing on the dartboard to like not to lose. Like you're literally like you're going after it. And there's a difference between learning and growth and all the things and how we approach failure and what that means. And it's like we are trying to protect ourselves from not being successful. And what if I can't? But what if you can? So
Yeah.
which dartboard are you playing on? What if I can or what if I can't? Which one
Hmm.
do you want to play on? I don't want to play on what if I can't. I want to
Yeah.
play on what if I can. And so I just loved that because it really helped shift some things in like perspective of, man, so many people are playing it safe, aren't
Yeah.
taking chances, are sticking with traditional jobs, not because they love it and that's what they want to do, because again, to each their own, but
Yeah.
because they're scared of something, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of like, what if I can't?
Yeah. And I completely understand where people come from. Same thing, to teach their own. And we do need workers, like you mentioned. We need doctors. We need
Yeah.
workers every single day. And but I remember talking to a friend about this, where I was like, we get to choose the role that we play in this world. I kind of was explaining her entrepreneurship. I was like, I see entrepreneurship as a lion, and some people decide to be an ant. So, and that's okay. Ants are so
Yeah.
important into this world, in our ecosystem. We need ants because 1,000 of them can carry a person. Like
Mm,
they are superpowers. But there's no. I'm not going to compare myself from a lion to an ant. Like I'm not going to make them feel less than. If anything, they're just as important. It's
100%.
however I choose to be a lion because I want to feel powerful. I want to be at a different part of the ecosystem that
Yeah.
helps the world go round. And
Yeah.
I think, and I try to explain it in that way. As like, some people want to be cats, some want to be people's dogs. Like, that's the role that they're meant to be. But there's something inside us that just knows that maybe I was a dog or a cat. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't feel happy being a dog or a cat. I want to be a lion.
Yeah.
And I kind of explained it that way. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but
I love it. Yeah, because anyone you can transformation happens every day.
yeah.
You can like who do you want to become? And you may not know that right now. You may be, some people are watching this and they're like, getting this and it's clicking, and some people might not have even started any type of business at this point yet. But there's something there. This is about just stirring it up. It's about knowing that
Mm,
transformation is possible. If you're a cat, or if you're a cat today, you could be a lion tomorrow. It
mm,
starts with making the decision, believing, and then again, just doing the inner work to have that like transformational shift. And what you can do and achieve in your life is incredible, like incredible.
yeah. And I definitely want to touch in a little bit more about the journey behind it, because you were building this business while still working your job.
Yep.
So, and I remember I heard this in Japan, where they said your job is to help pay the bills, but your
Yes.
business is there to help you create the freedom. So how did you balance, work life, mom life, soccer mom
Mm-hmm.
life, and
Mm-hmm.
building this business on the side?
I'm gonna be honest here that I found it rather easy.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like this business. It's actually easy. It's a lot of the deeper inner work that's harder.
Yeah.
I think when you find something that you're passionate, that you love, and that you want to make a change in your life, it's like it is so important to enjoy the journey. And so you can look at it and say, how am I going to find time to fit this into my already busy day? I'm exhausted after my 9 to 5 and after, taking my son to soccer, and I'm at tournaments every weekend. And I could use those for the excuse, but the truth is those are all the reasons why
Yeah.
I need to show up, why I need to do the work, why I need to build my 5 to 9 after my 9 to 5, and really prioritize this. And for people who say, I don't have time, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I promise you this, that there are people that are doing a lot more with their time than what you are. And I say that with nothing but love.
Yeah.
I say that to myself as well. Like, you have support to work through all of this and find the pockets of your time, but you can build this. So I tell people 1 to 2 hours a day is a great kind of balance to getting your business up and running. I probably did, 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours, and that was my choice. And it was because I loved it. I was passionate. I was excited. And I sacrificed my evenings. So I went from loving trashy reality television and like, oh my gosh, it's my downfall, to being like, okay, so instead of scrolling aimlessly on social media, seeing what Justin Bieber's up to, and watching my trashy reality TV, I replaced it. I
Yeah.
replaced it with focusing on this business, and I didn't lose anything. I gained so much more. So you got to reframe your mind. Again, the story you tell yourself. If you keep
Yeah.
saying, I don't have time, I don't have money, that's always going to be your story.
Yeah.
But if you're like, no, I have the time and I have the money, and then you show up in that way, guess what? Everything's going to change and transform. So we all have the same amount of time. So there's absolutely no reason that, people can't build a business alongside a 9 to 5, being a busy wife, being a busy mom, having priorities, because the truth is it's all about compounding interest, right? 1% better every day. That is the goal.
Yeah.
If you're 1% better and you move the needle forward every day with an actionable goal, 365 days, 1 year later, you will be 365% better. And what will your business look like? What progress will you have made in that? So, and if you
Mhm.
want to go faster, then again, that's when you double down, triple down, kind of like what I did. So, I didn't personally find it very hard. With that being said, I know many people do, and I don't take anything away from that. And I work with people all the time, as I know you do, in coaching, a strong daily method of operation, a strong framework to their day. But it really comes down to priorities, right?
Yeah.
And I say this, especially for like, people that have kids. Is there ever a day, no matter how busy, how stressed, whatever you've got going on, that you would not feed your child? No, you
That's a
would always
priority. Yeah. That's
right,
always,
because
yeah.
that matter, you're going to make time to do it. It's the same thing with your business, right?
Hmm.
Your business will be a new baby for you in your life that you get to love on and, help it along and show up for it. And you will feel so good because where you will take that is just so, so special. So use it as the reason to take the action, because if you don't have time freedom now and you're stressed out now and all the things, that's exactly why you need to start a business.
Yeah. I think Tony Robbins is the one who said this, where it's like energy goes where focus goes. So the energy of you just thinking you don't have the time, that's the
Uh-huh.
energy that you're putting out to the world. And if you're
Yes.
so focused on that idea, well, the energy is going to prove that. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel like you don't have time. You're going to see as time as a limited source,
Yeah.
which it is. But like you mentioned, everybody has the same 24
Yep.
hours. But if you start maybe putting your energy to a different thought of how can
Yeah.
I make time for this? How can I
Yeah.
become
How
resourceful to
can I
you?
not? How can't I? Yeah.
Yeah, it's where focus goes, energy flows. I think that's the saying. And
Hmm.
that's like something that I quickly realized that even in my own story of like, what are my thoughts? And are my thoughts creating the right
Mm.
habits? And if my habits are creating a routine, then my reality is going to show behind it, and
Absolutely.
it's going to take time. It's this reprogramming because maybe you grew up thinking you can't, or maybe somebody told you you can't do this, or maybe you
Hmm.
saw your parents also kind of always sacrificing their time. So
Yeah.
it's normal, but it really is where your focus goes, energy flows. How has your faith played a big role in your business?
It's everything. My faiths are always got
Oh, there
faith.
we go. So on
Okay.
brand.
Okay, so faith is a big part of my life, and again, this is one of those like everybody has what they personally believe in. So I always try not to push anything on anyone, but for me, I'm building for the kingdom. From
Hmm.
day one of starting my business, I knew that one of the goals that I had was also to like bring more people through this business to Christ. And I actually did that in my first 60 days. And it's one of the most proud stories, I would say, of my whole business. Like all the results are great, but like this to me means more than anything. And it was someone who I knew, who was someone from my, I worked with previously many, many years ago. We hadn't talked in years and years and years, but she saw me posting and sharing about the business opportunity that we have here. And so she's like, oh my gosh, like I need this. I don't want to do a 9 to 5, da da da. And I'm like, let's meet up for lunch and catch up on life and I'll talk to you about the business. And so we did. And long story short, turns out she was at literally almost rock bottom of her life. She
Wow.
was single mom, raising her 2 kids, and had fallen into a very like deep alcohol abuse, and had had a very unfortunate situation happen like the week prior,
Yeah.
and didn't know God, and just was not in a good place. And she reached out to me to talk to me about the business, which we did, and she ended up starting her business, and it was a beautiful like journey for her. But I, through that conversation, invited her as an invitation to come to church with me. And she ended up, a year later, her and her kids are getting baptized in the ocean together. She accepted
Oh.
Jesus as her Lord and Savior. And like, just, it was so, so special and beautiful, the journey that she found not just this business, but like God through this business at a time in her life where if she hadn't, I don't know where she would be today. And
Wow.
so that is special. And so my business page is Faith and Freedom Living. I have people reach out often and say, there's a lot of ads I see. I'm coming to you because of I see faith, and I want to talk about like what does this look like, and I love it. And so I say God is the CEO of my business. I'm just down here on earth running it, and just trying to live in all the right ways and make the biggest impact I can. So it's present every day in my life. So grateful that you know I have my faith to lean into, and I get to share that with the world and openly talk about it and not worry about what people think or judgment or anything like that. I get so many messages of inspiration and hope from people just from sharing, and openly talking about it,
Yeah.
and people appreciate it. And I've been able to do that because of this business.
Yeah. This business has definitely even opened up my faith in so many ways where I definitely felt like I lost him
Yeah.
throughout my journey. Like I
Yeah.
think in my early 20s it was a very dark time of my life and I always questioned him. I was like, "Why are you putting me through this?" And because of this business, I realized why. I saw he was conditioning me. He was telling me things that I couldn't even see at the time. And every reason why I thought he was doing to me has made me so much stronger. And um, throughout my day, and I used to I grew up Catholic, and it was every Sunday. Like, it was a very strict
Right.
household of every Sunday we go to church. So I feel like it was kind of like instilled in me, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like my choice.
Right.
And through this business, it's becoming to be my choice.
It's so
And
special.
it's so true. Like I think belief is a great thing that we
Yeah.
have to have in this business, but faith, not in just
Oh,
within ourselves, but to believe that you got to trust the process. You got to put your faith in something else to know that you're doing
yes.
everything correctly.
That's right. I always tell people faith and fear both require you to believe in something unseen.
Hmm.
Why would you choose to continue to believe in fear
Yeah.
when you could choose faith? Like it just your life changes when you lean into that, and the more that you grow in that relationship. And I could not agree with you more. And I love, and I'm so happy that you're like kind of strengthening that relationship and finding your way back. And, we all go through different seasons of our life. And it's just nice to know that no matter what season you're in, no matter the highest of highs, lowest of lows, or whatever you're going through, like he's always here, he's always present, and having faith that everything is working out for your like in perfect timing for you. And remember, there isn't, don't when something's going on in your life, and it's easy to feel like this, but you don't have to say like, why is this happening to me? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, what is this teaching me?
Mm-hmm.
How do you just reframe simple thoughts every day, from scarcity to abundance, from lack to flow, like,
Yes.
fear to faith, and just, man, every part of your life will literally change.
Yeah, and it is. I really started seeing it as like, okay, what is this teaching me? Like, what am I
Yes.
trying? What am I strengthening now? Um,
Yeah.
with that being said, one of my last questions for you is more of a fun question, but what is your favorite cookie crumble cookie of all time? And which one's the best holidays one? Because you are always on top of
I am a
it.
crumble cookie. I literally like just last night did my crumble review with my son and his friends. By the way, this week it's all pies at Crumble, pumpkin, apple, French silk, cookies and cream, and key lime. And let me tell you, holy moly, Crumble doesn't just do good at cookies. Their cheesecakes and their cakes and their pies are out of this world, out of this world. My personal favorite is French. I love French silk. It's my staple pie in my house, and Crumble did their thing. Like it was better than any French silk you get in the store. And I don't even like love key lime pie, but their key lime was really good this week. But I watch all the Crumble reviews as well, and
Yeah.
everyone's going crazy over the cookies and cream pie. My son loved the pecan, like went crazy over it. So anyway, I guess they're all
Yeah.
really, really, really good. My all-time favorite crumble
Yeah.
cookie is cotton candy.
Yeah.
I personally love the warm cookies with
Me too.
the frosting on the top. Like
Mhm.
I could eat bags of that frosting, and the cotton. And you know something so sad. Oh my God. So they don't repeat flavors very frequent. It's very infrequent. Like typically once every 6 months, if you're lucky, a flavor will repeat, unless it's
Yeah.
like a staple flavor. Um, Cotton candy was supposed, like it's been over a year since cotton candy has come here.
Yeah.
And I was like this summer, all summer, every week, waiting for the Crumble, lineup every week. And I'm like, cotton candy's not in it. I'm messaging Crumble on Instagram.
Oh my
Crumble,
gosh.
when are you bringing cotton candy back? So anyway, cotton candy is like my favorite of like I think all time, but their lemon cupcake is probably my second favorite, and
Yeah.
they're all so good.
Yeah, every time I see one, I only think of you. Like that's all. I only think of you. And it
Crumble
makes
queen.
yeah. No, and me and my husband, we love watching your reviews.
Oh,
It's like
you. Oh my God.
yeah.
Well, I love doing them, and it's so funny because I didn't do it with the intention really of, I just, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Let me share it. And I've had so many people like message me if like there's ever a week where's your crumble review? Like I've been waiting. I'm like, oh my God, people watch and they care. So I
Yeah.
told my husband, babe, I can't gotta do it for the people. Like they need me. He's like, you have a problem.
Well, it just shows one, you're so authentic, but two, you really do things that are passionate to you, and you just you live out this energy, and it's so like easy to watch, and it's something to follow. And I always with my husband, like he loves them because he has a huge sweet tooth. I don't really have a sweet tooth. I'm more of a savory person, but it's funny because I was like, yeah, you and Christy have a lot of common. You guys love Justin Bieber, and you love sweets.
I love it. Love it. And I love that he loves it. So tell him I said hi. And
I
just an
will.
FYI, this week's Thanksgiving review, it was a little bit of a choppy video because it was like done last night and at night. And the pies, we all had to have four. Like normally I can cut the cookies and we all eat it and do like a review at the same. I had whipped cream all over my seats in the back from the boys. Like
That's so
there was
funny.
like I still like I've got sauces all over my steering wheel. My car got hit by a crumble pie bomb last night. So anyway, it wasn't the best review, but normal cookies will be back next week. So
I love that. And do you have anything else? So we're kind of going towards the end, but do you want to promote anything? I know you and Jazzy are having something really amazing. Do you want to go ahead and promote that in this
I would
podcast?
love to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jasmine and we have really, we're so passionate about like pouring into others and helping people. And we have many, many, many years of coaching experience and obviously from our online business and my prior corporate background. And we both are really truly believe that belief, like we've talked about, is the potential, is the key to unleashing your potential in your life.
Yeah.
And again, that's your business, your personal life, like any aspect of your life. So, we have put together a 30-day belief breakthrough coaching program for the month of December. And we are so excited to just take people along a transformational journey to help kick in the butt, self-doubt, lacking of confidence, limiting beliefs, and really just like dive into unraveling all that and then getting clear on like what's possible for your life, where do you really want to be, and how does belief play a part in that. So we have tools, exercises, resources, and a weekly call that will be doing guided prompts through, and just really want to help people set up the last month of 2024 like new year, new you. And we
Yeah.
have a 50% off Black Friday special, and we have over 30 people currently enrolled in the program, and we have limited spots left. So if you are interested, let me know. We can hopefully get you in before they're full and send you the link. But it's going to be a fantastic month of just self-development and journey through belief.
Yeah. And definitely let them know where to find you.
Yeah, I am Faith and Freedom Living. So if you go to Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can go to any of those three. And Faith and Freedom is, I pretty much like the number one account that will pop up, and you'll see a picture of me. And yeah, just shoot me a message, and I'll drop the link for you to get registered for the program. And yeah, you can follow along. And I share a lot of value and inspiration and tips, but also a lot of crumble reviews if you like that on specifically TikTok.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you guys from personal experience that Jazzy and Christy will definitely light a fire. If you truly want that transformation,
Yes,
make that dedication to yourself. Be
your
there.
work.
Yeah. And you will see a difference. I
Yeah.
guarantee you. I see a difference every time I talk to them. I can't even imagine what type of transformation you'll see in 30 days to really
Yeah.
help you get you to where you want. So
Yeah.
I could promise you, you're in good hands.
Yeah. Thank
Well,
you.
of course. Thank you so much for hopping on. And thank you for being part of the Breakthrough and Conquer podcast. If this episode sparked something within you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow cycle breaker. Remember, this journey of breaking free from limited beliefs and creating a life in abundance is a relentless pursuit. And together, I'm confident that we can achieve the extraordinary. Make sure to follow me on IG and TikTok at Claudia Conquers Life, and visit www.claudiaconquers.com for more resources about high ticket affiliate marketing and how maybe you can be the next six-figure online business owner as well. So keep pushing your limits, defy the odds, and live life with a purpose. Until next time, stay unstoppable.